Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
There we go. Sorry about that, folks. Oh, I knew that I was forgetting about something. All right, welcome everyone to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. How are we all doing today, folks? Are you doing well? Have you had a good weekend? Hey, I know I've been so far getting a better weekend than usual. You know, it does feel nice. It was mostly relaxing. And right now, I am all prepped up and ready to go with this episode, because with this one, we're going to have something that we haven't had in a very long time, which is a trailer palooza. The grand majority of all the stories that we're going to be talking about. Already, I see some excitement going on with some subscriptions. Thank you, Goran, and thank you, Jay Monty, for the subscription right there, by the way. But as I was saying, we are going to have a whole bunch of trailers that we are going to get into. There will be one story that we will look at first, but then afterwards we will get into all the fun with all the various trailers. Some that have been released like a little while ago, like almost a week, to stuff that have even been released today. So we are definitely going to have a fun-filled time today. So with all that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Are you all ready? Let me see now. All right. Yes. 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 Okay. I see people are prepared. That is beautiful to go and check out. So, with all that said and done, it is now time that we shall go and have a little break first, because when it comes to our first story, there's going to be a lot that I got to go and talk about here, because from there, I want to go and restart the ad timer. So we will start off with a little bit of a break, and when we do return, we're going to talk about some controversy in regards to a little animation studio, in which not only have they been called out for the usual toxic behavior, but also some pretty serious cases that may include some child labor. And we are back. So yes, we are about to enter into some serious controversy going on, and this was actually something that exploded during the weekend. Now, maybe you have not heard about this studio, but this was honestly one that not only have I heard about it, but I briefly had a personal connection with the studio that we shall be talking about. And what I am referring to is actually going to be in regards to the controversy related to Boldbird Studios. Now, for those of you who don't know, Boldbird Studios was supposed to be this up and rising animation studio. It was like brand spanking new. It was like pretty fresh back last year during the summer of 2022, I believe. And they actually had a few animated projects that did gather a bit of a fan base who were pretty hyped up for the projects that they had in store. One of these included Lionbound, which was supposed to be this sci-fi Lion King, and another was Defenders of Avalonia, which is another sci-fi project, but it promoted itself as something that would be in the veins of something like Owl House or Amphibia, like kind of this epic animated series. However, one of the bigger things that animation people know about Boldbird was that it was meant to be like the first stepping stone to animation for young artists and animators. Like, for those who want to pursue a career in animation, they could have a job in Boldbird Studios, and they would go and have their first big step into the industry, thus making it easier where after their little project on that place, they could go and move on to some of the bigger places. Like if they want to work at Cartoon Network, if they want to work at Disney, if they want to work at DreamWorks, then they would have to go and get their first steps at Boldbird so that they could gather the experience and they could go and gather some little additional training so that they can make their portfolio look real good, and then they can really go and pursue their dreams. Now, that was what Boldbird advertised itself as. That was the original point of Boldbird. But during the weekend, apparently there have been some very shady stuff behind the scenes. And it was all presented in this entire Google Doc, which, by the way, I highly recommend that you go and check out and see for yourself, because it actually has tons of evidence and tons of like dark things that they would go and call out, and a lot of them is in relation to what has been said on their Discord page, like a lot of photographic evidence, a lot of like messages of what those people would go and say. Now, this is a pretty big Google Doc, by the way, but thankfully right at the end, they actually did provide a summary of everything that has happened, of what they have done. So I'm going to go and read you one by one through my source here from the Google Docs about Boldbird. It states, while a lot of these screenshots are self-explanatory, here is a rundown of everything that has happened between the dates of June of 2022 and March of 2023. The studio promises a professional and loving environment, but proceeds to not fulfill these promises by constantly being rude, standoffish, and downright rude to some members of staff. So technically, they said they were rude twice, but I digress. The studio was built off of miners' labor, and while a lot of minors were removed during the signing of NDAs, the ones who are still on the team are providing free labor for the studio and cannot legally be considered employees, especially in some states. The horrible treatment and inappropriate behavior to and about minors, crew members as a whole, actually. A minor made not safe for work artwork and other offenses, and that artwork was shared around between other leads and people outside the studio. The minor was not removed for their behavior. Leads often are rude, rash, and make quick and hard to meet deadlines, and ridicule/shame people for not being able to make them, and will talk about their issues behind the lead's private chat. Sometimes clear favoritism can be shown. One person will be removed for being inactive, while another is allowed to be inactive based on their quality of work or social hierarchy in the server, creating an unfair and competitive environment. NDAs are morally questionable for people who are not being paid for their work to sign, and borderline illegal / does not hold up in a court of law. We also are illegally not allowed to talk about our pay and what might come of it after a project gets funded. This is especially dangerous for the minors still involved in the studio. The studio's morals seem to change. While at first it was supposed to be a learned and nurturing environment, those who are considered to be beginners are often ridiculed / cast aside. Information protected by these NDAs is then leaked in a lead chat for people not on those projects to see, spreading the information to people who are not supposed to see it. Taking crew members' valid concerns and making them feel bad about it / talking behind their backs instead of handling it properly. Leads are not reprimanded for their actions and left to think of how they have been doing and saying are okay. This puts the studio owner in a bad light, thinking now that there is some level of agreement with her lead's behavior. And last point is inappropriate handling of a person coming forward with concerns about the story direction being based off of Africa, and the studio owner coming in pretending to be someone else as their alt account in their own defense. It feels like you aren't valued for your position or skills. You get mistreated left or right, leading to this toxic, unfair, competitive environment filled with people who are not fun to be around. The environment Lionbound creates is nothing like what the studio is supposed to stand for. Witnessed on countless occasions, people with genuine concerns and questions being brushed off, dismissed, or treated downright rude. The inappropriate behavior and unprofessional handling of situations both in public view and locked behind lead chats is horrible. The lead team is left unchecked and say things that should not be said and have engaged in illegal activity. If it was intentional or not, things are still illegal. So now you see what I mean. So this isn't just a whole bunch of rude behavior and douchebag key staff, but there is also some very serious charges of full-on child labor. Like, yeah, maybe the people who would go and work there, like, they're just slightly under 18, but still, that does categorize as child labor when things are not handled properly. And on top of that, I would like to go and state that not only does this Google Doc provide like a whole bunch of evidence, again, like taking a bunch of screenshots of what they have said on their Discord chat, but also I can actually say that there was an animator who told me all about this, and they have confirmed to me that not only that they have seen these things happen, but they were a bit of a victim as well. Now, I'm not going to say specifically who this animator is. They will remain anonymous, but from what they have told me, they have witnessed the key staff being very douchey, that they have witnessed a lot of that very rude behavior and how they would go and bully many of the beginners or some of the minors or some of the smaller staff within the workforce at Boldbird Studios, and have also met up with a lot of those like grueling deadlines, like the kind that is just impossible to go and meet up. And they have actually told me that they have worked on Lionbound, which they stated was a very fun project to work on. They really enjoyed working on Lionbound itself. It's just dealing with the people was just way too much. And then during the weekend, when it was revealed about all the controversy related to Boldbird, that's when they choose to go and bail out. And I would not be surprised if they were not the first ones to actually exit. I'm sure there must have been some kind of mass exodus. There must have been some mass exodus going on at Boldbird because of everything that was revealed. And not only that, but there have also been some projects that have pretty much abandoned ship at Boldbird, where the Twitter account Cartoon News Network actually did reveal the controversy. They were the ones who did publicly share the Google Docs all about what happened at Boldbird Studios, and they even confirmed that Everland and Defenders of Alodia is no longer associated with Boldbird Studios and will continue production without them. So yeah, like right now, Boldbird has quickly become a sinking ship. And for me, when I was first told about this, when the animator came in front of me and told me about everything that's been going on, I was just left completely shocked. Like, I was familiar with Boldbird Studios. I knew some of the stuff that they were doing, like Alodia, and it was just shocking to see that not only that they would kind of come back a little bit in the news, but in the worst way possible. And I'll just say this, like, the rude behavior from the key staff, that's one thing. Like, yeah, it is wrong what they have done, and that is the kind of behavior that should be called out and should be looked down upon in any workforce whatsoever. But sadly, these kinds of issues are pretty common. Like, this isn't just common in the animation industry, where you would find it in places like DreamWorks or Disney or Sony or Pixar or whatever. Like, sadly, you will come across a moment where you'll have to face a really douchey boss. And sadly, this can happen like anywhere in the workforce. Like, I'm sure even you would probably have a job where you remember that the boss was being a bit of a douchebag, where they would go and talk behind people's backs and like really giving you a hard time, while at the same time wanting to build this hierarchy system where they would purposely put themselves on top of it. Like, that is one thing, and that is totally wrong. And that's one thing that they would have that kind of toxicity brewing at the studio. But child labor, though, the fact that you would go and hire minors and and if you would pay them or not, like, it's at the point where it's questionable, that's when you're facing some serious legal trouble. And I'll say this now, if Boldbird ends up going to court, like if there are animators who decide to come together and put them in court and charge them with many of these serious cases, including child labor, they are done, especially like with all the evidence that they would show, with all of these with all of these Discord chats and stuff like that, they would go, like, they would be screwed. They would be done with. Like, if they're legally charged, then they have to go and abandon ship. They would have to go and plead guilty for the things that they have done, because there's nothing that they could do or say to really get themselves out of this kind of situation. And I gotta say, like, one thing for me that I just feel massively shocked about is honestly because, like, seeing all this happen, and yes, as I stated before, I actually did have a small connection with Boldbird Studios once. I remember back at the very beginning of the cycle of Boldbird Studios, it was not far off from like the dates that they would go and mention. Like, I think it was like during the summer of 2022 when I actually did an interview video with the founder of Boldbird Studios, Hallie. And I remember the purpose of it was to go and promote the crowdfunding campaign of Defenders of Elodia. And I saw the project and I saw the great potential that it had. So, you know, I really wanted to go and help them out. Like, one thing that I love to do with my platform is to go and help out other filmmakers and other animators with their projects, to go and see them flourish, you know, to do a good deed in the animation industry with my platform per se. And from there, I would go and I would do an interview with Hallie. We would have a nice chat and stuff. But it wasn't until a month ago when Hallie actually contacted me back and she asked me to go and take down that interview video, because not only did the crowdfunding campaign not work, like, it was actually the first one that I did do an interview in which I went to go and promote, and the crowdfunding campaign did not work. But also, Hallie told me that she was just embarrassed of the way that she presented herself. She was just very, you know, she just felt very insecure of the way that she presented herself in the interview, how she was just very nervous. And despite the fact that I tried to do my best in the editing to go and make her sound great, not to go and, not to let the pauses linger on, to cut out some of the unnecessary words like, well, you know, I tried to do everything I can to make her look as professional as possible with that interview, but I guess her nerves got the best of her, and she asked me to go and take it down. So I agreed. I put it in private, and from there, I just asked, like, how things are going, and she did not, like, indicate to me anything in regards to, like, any of the controversies or if things are going bad with the studio. She said, yeah, things are fine, you know, it's all good. Thank you for doing this for me. You know, it's very nice. And I even asked her, it's like, hey, if there's anything else you want me to help out with, let me know. And then suddenly, all this. Honestly, after that interaction with Hallie, I did not expect to see this entire piece of madness going on. I did not expect that we would have, like, Boldbird be at the center stage of controversy and be called out for all these issues, for the entire toxicity, for the hierarchy system that some of the douchier leads would go and create for themselves, and especially their interaction with minors, to the point where now Boldbird could possibly put themselves in legal trouble in this case. So overall, I would say that with this entire matter, I just honestly feel very disappointed. Like, I'm not angry, I'm not depressed about all this, I just feel seriously disappointed. I felt like Boldbird had a lot of great potential, and I really wanted to go and help them out, to go and really flourish. I wanted to see them really thrive as this new up and coming animation studio with a bunch of projects that I could see have a great fan base, like Lionbound or Defenders of Elodia. Like, I wanted to really go and see them flourish and do everything in my power with my platform to go and actually help them out, the same way I did with Clay Dream, or with the hand-drawn documentary, and with some of the other interviews that I've done. I wanted to go and help them out. But sadly, seeing this unfurl, seeing all this come out, it's just honestly shocking. And it's just disappointing, in which my expectations for them, not only have they not been met, but they just completely crumbled. And I guess like it's kind of a blessing in a way that I ended up privating that interview video, that maybe it is for the best unintentionally. But yeah, I don't know. Like you know, honestly, one mistake that I've personally done, I wish I contacted Hallie before, like asking her about her side of the story, like what the fridge is going on with all this. But I can imagine that she already has a whole lot on her plate right now. So who knows at this point. But yeah, honestly, I could probably ask about like what is the future going to hold for Boldbird Studios, but I don't think there might be a future for Boldbird, especially when all this has been exposed, when they've been called out for their massively toxic behavior, especially with now what could possibly be some serious legal troubles that they are going to get into. I don't know if there is going to be a future. I don't know any animator who would be so desperate for a job that they're willing to go and invest themselves onto Boldbird with everything that they actually do know right now. And especially in the case of Boldbird, and like with all the leads, and maybe even with Hallie, I'm just going to say right now, I don't think there is a future for them in animation. I think like with all those leads being called out, being exposed, showing the kind of behavior with their attitude that they had towards young animators and stuff, they're pretty much done. Now that it's out there on the internet, that's going to be a permanent stain to their reputation. If they want to go and redeem themselves and have a second chance, they're, you know, they can do it. They can do it. They can have a second chance, but it's going to take a very long time in order to go and repair. And that's all. And like that second chance, if they do go and pursue that, that is a maybe. That's only a maybe if they would be able to go and actually receive that second chance, and that they could probably have a career in animation. But as it stands right now with all this going on, no. I think it's safe to say that Boldbird Studios is unfortunately over, and it is too bad as well. It really is. Like, there was a lot of promise, there was a lot of potential, and I did spend some time to actually try to help out Boldbird Studios and some of their projects like Nickelodeon, but sadly, it was all for naught. It really was. So I just wanted to go and talk about my grievances in there. And also, I want to go and give out a huge thanks to the animator who informed me about the entire situation. You know who you are. Honestly, thank you so much for bringing light into this for me, because yeah, this is something that needs to be talked about. And this is why it is vital that for an animation studio, if you want it to flourish, you need to go and create a positive environment. If you let this kind of toxicity to brew, then honestly, your studio ain't gonna last long, because eventually it will be called out, it will receive backlash, it will you're gonna receive a PR nightmare, or worse, legal troubles like you are facing right now with the child labor stuff. You know, it's just you really, like, if you're gonna run a studio, learn to treat your animators correctly. There's a reason why there are unions out there that are established. And this is why, like, you need to protect their rights. You need to protect their safety. You need to make sure that it is a safe environment for those animators. So with all that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and now I want to ask your piece. How do you all feel about the entire controversy going on in relation to Boldbird Studios? If you are familiar, by the way, with Boldbird, let me know what you think about all this, because honestly, it's a lot to go and take in. I completely understand that. Let's see what we got here. You know that gif of Skinner from Ratatouille where he grows more mortified the more he reads a letter? Yeah, that's how I'm feeling right now, diving into this rabbit hole. I mean, What in the holy grandmother of hell, heaven, space, time, matter, mother nature, temperature, the sun, the moon, the sky, the sea, potatoes, cabbages, and electric alarm clocks am I meant to say here? No, I'm genuinely asking, since someone help me out. I'm too stunned and horrified to think. I mean, how do you think I feel? I mean, like, I literally created a legitimate video promoting this studio, promoting one of their projects, promoting the head of the studio, and then suddenly all this going on. Like, trust me, how do you think I feel about all this? It's ridiculous. Anyways, I'm thankful that I'm learning animation skills at home and not dealing with people like them at Boldbird Studios. First heard about them thanks to your video, but almost forgot about them until today. Yeah, this news is completely new to me, and I should have heard about it much sooner, but I didn't. This is definitely the most shocking news this week, dear God. Well, keep in mind, like, this thing is still fresh. This news is still relatively new. In fact, if we go into the Boldbird thing, it was actually back on, like, it was, like, it's not even 48 hours. Like, this was, late at night on March 4th. So that was on a Saturday. So this is still relatively new. This is like a lot more people are still learning about this. Let's see. This is honestly shocking. Boldbird honestly could have had a lot of great potential, but the fact that it has been revealed that they are incredibly toxic and being accused of child labor is really unfortunate. And honestly, it would not shock me if the studio could potentially end up shutting down, and it just makes me upset. Exactly. This is not a situation where anybody is going to be happy in this case. This is like a round where everybody loses. Like, the animators lost, the leads lost, Hallie lost, the Boldbird Studios in general lost. There are no winners here. It's just toxicity corrupting everything to give everyone L's. And I might have even gotten an L because of the video that I made. I mean, granted, like, it didn't really get a whole bunch of views. I think, like, when the last time I checked, it only got around 5,000 views. But then again, I'm just gonna be honest. People don't really care about the interview videos that I make. Like, whenever I would go and make an interview video to help promote an indie animator, people do not care. They just want to hear me talk about the popular stuff that's out there online. So, anyways, like, it's not necessarily a big L for me, but I'm sure for many others, like, yeah, it is a relatively depressing L. But anyways, I've never instantly hated something I didn't previously knew about before this day. It just goes to show that the indie animation industry can be just as, if not more toxic, as the mainstream animation industry. If Disney, DreamWorks, Illumination, or any other mainstream animation studio, there would be riots. We already need new animation studios, but we also need to hold them to the same ethical standards we hold to established studios. Yeah, that is definitely true. That like that's one thing you got to keep in mind with indie studios. They, it could be like a full-on free-for-all. They don't have unions in which they would go and, like, follow the rules to make sure that everybody is okay in there. Sometimes it can be grueling and it can be like a freaking brawl inside. Let's see. This is absolute bull. How can anybody think, you know what we need? Child labor. If you think this is okay, then I'm going to say it bluntly. You're a freaking idiot who deserves nothing in life. Christ, unions are a good thing. If those in power are against it, then 9 times out of 10, it's a good thing that should be done. That's the craziest thing. Like, I get it. Like, there is a lot of young animators out there that want to go and pursue a career in animation, but at the very least, could you wait until you graduate high school until you can actually go and pursue a career in animation, to go and work at a studio? Like, I'm not saying not to animate at all. Like, you are free to go and make your own animated projects, like on YouTube and stuff like that. But honestly, if you want to, like, if you really want to go into the industry, then wait. Make sure you get the right training, make sure you get a proper education, and then you can go and pursue it. If you see a studio like Boldbird just freely hiring minors, like a bunch of 15 and 16 and 17-year-olds, to work into their studio, that's when you got to sound the alarms and just bail out. Let's see, what do we got here? What other comments do we have? It's really sad and disappointing that they did this. They had a lot of great potential to be a great animation studio, but after seeing their true colors, yikes, man, child labor and poorly treating their people, I'm really sorry. It's just horrible. Absolutely. Oh, okay. Well, this is interesting because we actually do have the animator here. The animator that I talked about, he's actually here, and it's none other than Jerry. You probably remember Jerry McGrory, who I invited in an episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast a couple of years ago, who previously worked on Space Jam: A New Legacy. So this is what Jerry has to say. Hello, I have come to confess that I am the one who shared this story with AniMat. I was going to go anonymous here, but I feel too much has been exposed that I have to come clean. I have confirmed that many of the leads, Bold are not horrible people in and of themselves. They are simply people who weren't yet prepared for such big duties like running a virtual animation studio and handling a project on a professional scale. Thank you, Matt, for taking the time to listen. Hey, thank you so much, Jerry, for giving me this story. I mean, like, it was a true shock. Like, it was as shocking for me as much as it was shocking for you. All right, so with that said and done, let's go and have a break. And now we are going to get into the meat of this entire podcast episode, as we are going to be looking into some trailers. And the first one that we are going to look into after this break is going to be one that was released today. And we are back. And by the way, I noticed that in the chat wall, speaking of Jerry, he actually mentioned that very soon it's actually going to be his birthday, specifically tomorrow, or the day after I recorded this. So just want to give a round of applause to say happy birthday, Jerry. Hey, I hope you have a wonderful week, by the way. And once again, thank you for sharing me the Boldbird story. All the best for you, and all the best for your future in animation. But with all that said, let us now go into our next story and our first trailer that we're going to go and look at. And yes, this was actually one that was released today. Now, during the weekend, we have actually gotten some news that when it comes to this movie, they revealed an all-star cast. They revealed an entire cast of so many different recognizable names that are going to be playing various mutants on this anticipated feature. But one thing that I will admit was quite a surprise for me was to see that now we even got our first full look at what's going to be happening within this movie. We've heard a whole bunch of crazy stuff, but now they're going to give us a true taste of what they really have in store. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for the upcoming animated feature, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can.
And that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, to which the movie is scheduled to be released on August 4th. Now, I know that there have been a little bit of mixed reactions when it comes to this trailer in particular, that they didn't necessarily show a whole lot of the mutants themselves. And I mean, even when you do look at the like and dislike ratio, it's pretty iffy, honestly. Like, you saw, like, like the majority did like it. So far as I'm recording this, it's 41k likes against 13k likes. But so far, like, a lot of it is like, it's mostly positive, but there have been some mixed reactions as well. But one thing I do want to go and state is that you got to keep in mind that this is a teaser trailer. We haven't fully seen anything yet coming from this movie. Like, so far, this is just a little bit of a taste. And honestly, as a teaser trailer, like, okay, yeah, like that, it's something like this you have to come and expect. And especially when its main purpose is it's to introduce us to this new variant of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I gotta say that, to be honest, even though we didn't necessarily see a whole lot of what you would want from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the crazy villains, or you would see a lot of the Ninja Turtles like fighting crime and doing a lot of action scenes, I actually really do like these new turtles. I think honestly, they did, like, one thing that this trailer actually did get right is actually give us a great first impression of these brand new turtles. One thing that I really do appreciate, and keep in mind, I just want to go and state right now that I would consider myself a bit more of a casual Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans. I think I've already stated that before. And I mean, I've seen some of the episodes and some of the previous series, like especially with the 2003 series from 4Kids. But I am familiar with many of the other Ninja Turtle stuff, including the latest version of it, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which did gather a massive cult following. And now with this brand new version, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but one thing I really did like that I don't think any other version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has done is that this one emphasizes the teenager aspect. Now, in the previous versions of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I didn't necessarily fully get that they really were teenagers. From the sound of it, especially with their voices and stuff, it felt more like they just emphasized the other aspect, that they were just mutant ninja turtles, and that any of the teenage aspects felt like it was just placed there just to build up their personality or for marketing purposes to make them more appealing towards kids and stuff like that. For the most part, throughout the generations of Ninja Turtles, they felt like they were just they were just Ninja Turtles who still have a lot to learn. They're not full-on masters of their art, but they can definitely get the job done, even though that there can also be conflicts between one another. Maybe a little problematic, maybe they do have some flaws, but that was the only aspect that technically would be the teenager thing, and technically it's not officially a teenager aspect. But in this teaser trailer, though, I am fully convinced that that these guys are legitimate teenagers, not only hiring actual teenagers to voice the Ninja Turtles, but also it explains so much of their behavior. Like when you do look at the beginning, like when you just see them like goofing off with the watermelons, just filming themselves, just slicing down fruit, playing real fruit ninjas and stuff like that, and just filming them with their phones. Their behavior that they are presenting feels like full-on teenagers. And yeah, they would have moments that they would screw up, like with the whole with the stars incident that they saw they messed up a car. Like this right here feels like the most teenager that the Turtles had ever been, more so than before. And that actually gives me a lot of confidence that, yeah, okay, they're taking a new approach, but there's an aspect to it that does stay true to who they actually are. And that now the flaws that they had in the past, like whatever conflicts that they're going to have with one another, or with the fact that they still have a lot to learn, the reason for that is because they are kids. They're pretty much at the age where now they want to have independence, but they're not officially adults yet. They don't necessarily have that maturity where they can do things for themselves. Maybe with many of the other ones, they still got that, they still sound like they can have that maturity. They can just sometimes just be dumb. But in here, this explanation, none of these turtles are stupid. None of these turtles are dumb. They're just kids. They're just they don't have enough life experience yet to fully understand the world around them. And not to mention, even their designs actually do reflect upon that they are teenagers. You got Donatello over here, in which he has glasses, which I must say, those glasses actually look familiar. I mean, I think me and Donnie here, we got the same glasses. And even there have been some shots in which you can actually see, if you look at Mikey with Michelangelo, he's actually wearing braces. So even in terms of their designs, like they actually do look like teenagers as well. Now, I know technically we didn't necessarily get a whole bunch of like the other characters that are promised to come in, because one thing that they advertise for Mutant Mayhem is the fact that all the mutants, or almost all of the mutants that has showed up throughout the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, they are going to be making a big appearance over here. In a way, they want to be like Spider-Verse of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where they're going to bring in all the famous baddies and all the creative villains all coming together in this one massive brawl. But we did get a little bit of a taste of like some of the ones from before, like you do have one quick shot. Just want to see, yeah, like you got this one quick shot here of Bebop and Rocksteady, in which they do stay true to the classic designs that they had in the past. And I believe it's going to be Bebop over here that is, or maybe it's either Bebop or Rocksteady that is going to be voiced by Seth Rogen. And we also got our first look into this version of April O'Neil, which surprisingly, she actually stays a lot more true to the rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where she is African American, she's black, and you know, trying to be a lot more of the like smartest one of the group, debatably even more than Donnie. And you see her trying to do her reporting job, even talking with the Ninja Turtles, talking about the mysterious goo or the ooze. Oh, someone did correct me, by the way. Yes, Seth Rogen is going to be Bebop, and John Cena is actually going to be Rocksteady. Thank you, Blue Boy, for the little correction over there. So already you got that going on. Oh, and speaking of Spider-Verse, by the way, the animation, I think like the one thing we can all agree on that really does stand out here is in regards to the animation. It is flat out beautiful, and yes, it does have that massive Spider-Verse influence. And a big reason for that is actually the director here, who is actually Jeff Rowe. And you probably have heard about Jeff Rowe's name before, in which previously he was the co-writer and co-director of The Mitchells vs. the Machines. And it is true that when you do look upon Mutant Mayhem, like it does have a little bit of that Mitchells versus the Machine style, not just with the designs, but even just like with the entire stylized look, with the way that you see that it has CG, but there's kind of like a bit of that 2D drawn filter that is on top of it, and on top of showing like a bunch of exciting moments that they would go and present, like in order to really capture that gritty comic book feel. So honestly, in terms of the animation, yeah, they definitely managed to go and sell that. So overall, even though this is just a teaser trailer, for me personally, I think this is pretty solid. I think like it managed to do the job to give us a little taste of what's going to be to come in August. I really like this new interpretation of the Ninja Turtles, where they really do emphasize the teenage aspect of it. The animation looks beautifully solid. I love that Spider-Verse Mitchell style impression. Like it really, and not to mention, it really does fit well with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme and environment. I think honestly, it's a great artistic style that they are going with this. And overall, this is actually making me excited to check this out. I mean, one thing I will ask, though, is that I really do hope this does become better than the last fully animated TMNT movie. And I don't mean like Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't mean that film. I mean specifically the one that was released in theaters, I think back in 2007. Admittedly, I was not that big of a fan of that version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was a bit on that one. I think personally, I find it to be one of the weaker interpretations of the Turtles, and this one at the very least looks like it's already going to surpass that. So if you are excited to go and check out Mutant Mayhem, then keep in mind that this movie will be coming out on August 4th. And with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and it's time that I ask you all, what do you all think of the teaser trailer of Mutant Madness? Are you guys excited for the movie? Are you a little iffy about it? Let me know what you think. All right, let's see what we got here. I'm a casual TMNT fan like you, Matt, so I don't have that much knowledge with the series. But even I could tell this really does stand out when compared to the other TMNT media. Not just visually, which is amazing and really shows how Spider-Verse has influenced the field of animation, but also with the Turtles acting like actual teenagers. It helps a lot that they actually have teenagers voicing the Turtles, most notably Gumball's third voice as Leo. I'm excited to see more of this in the future. Ooh, that is actually an interesting fact. Okay. You know, that's actually pretty cool. Let's see, what other comments do we have? That wasn't at all what I expected, but I love this. The animation feels like something you'd find on the side of an 80s van. The comedy really plays into the teenage aspect of the Turts, and while it took me a little while to get used to Donnie's voice, the cast is pretty spot on. Hell, Jackie Chan as Splinter is perfect casting. I'm definitely gonna give this a go. Now, hold up. I'm gonna check what trailer is coming up next. Mario, huh? Okay, wait a minute. Turtles, get down! Yeah, honestly, there are some casting in here that I gotta say, like, it's just flat out perfect. Like, yeah, Jackie Chan as Master Splinter, obvious choice, really good right there. But one I gotta say that I absolutely adore, I think it's another one that's full on perfect, is, I forgot his full name. I'm gonna butcher it, and I do apologize for that. But, I think Giacomo Espiamo as Baxter Stockman. I might have butchered that name, but I think that guy playing as Baxter Stockman. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, I got the full name properly. Sorry. Hold on a sec. Just want to see. Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito. Wow, I really messed that up, didn't I? But yeah, him as Baxter Stockman, I think that's another one that's just too perfect there. Let's see, what else do we got here? I really enjoy what they represent. While I'm not a big TMNT fan, I can really admire the aspects they showed. The Spider-Verse-esque animation looks really cool, the teenager aspect is very convincing, the voice acting is great, and the humor is pretty funny. I'm also surprised that there are so many people voicing characters like John Cena, Seth Rogen, and Post Malone, and they brought back the old Nick Splat logo from the beginning. I'm looking forward to see this film when it comes out. Definitely nice. Yeah, and like, they actually did provide like a massive list, like right at the end, like over here. Yeah, hold on, just before that. Yeah, like you got Jackie Chan, you got Micah Abbey, you got Ice Cube, you got Post Malone, you got Maya Rudolph, got Rose Byrne, you got Paul Rudd, you got everybody in here. Holy crap. All right, let's see, what else do we have here? What are the comments? Not to sound like a contrarian, but I don't really care for the animation style. Oh, interesting. Okay. To me, at least, it looks like a grudgier, cheaper, uglier version of Spider-Verse style. Glad you liked it, though. However, this trailer was completely salvaged by the return of the Nickelodeon Splat logo. It's green instead of orange, but that makes it even better. That makes it look like it's made out of Nickelodeon slime. I did not expect that we would get great praise from a simple logo. Like, from this over here is getting a lot of love. I guess it goes to show the power of nostalgia. Let's see, what else do we have? What other comments are there to read? When it comes to my relationship to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I've only grown with the 2003 series, the 1990 film, and the 2007 animated film, and that's it. I'm more of a casual fan, but not a diehard overall. For this one, I'm very impressed with the animation, voice cast, characters, and that it so makes me more excited to see it come out. So I hope it's great. Fun fact, April started as Black in the comics, and funny to see Seth Rogen play another pig character since Pumbaa in the Lion King remake. Does that mean we're gonna go and get another, we're gonna get like another scene like in Rescue Rangers where we see Pumbaa and then alongside Mantis and Bob from Monsters vs. Aliens, and now we're just gonna add freaking Bebop onto it? Like, just everybody coming together going oh, and let's not forget, let's also add Donkey Kong into the mix. Oh, we cannot forget about that one too. Oh yeah, oh definitely, man. Yeah, honestly, and yeah, that is interesting how April O'Neil actually did start out as black. So honestly, in that regard, Rise and this movie did nothing wrong. They're just staying true to the original source material. All right, I think I'm gonna read one more until we move on to the into the next trailer after our break, of course. Oh, I already tweeted on how excited I am for Mutant Mayhem. That animation and style, man, it's already unique compared to the previous versions we got. Also, actual teens as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Yep, feels right for this movie. The casting is looking great as well, so ready to see it as soon as possible. Also, Andre Black also said the same thing about Dom. Oh, well, what do you... Hey, I mean, like, me, Andre, and Donatello, we know our glasses. We have the best fashion sense when it comes to our glasses. All right, so that is pretty much it for Mutant Mayhem. Again, if you are excited to check that movie out, then keep in mind that it is going to be released on August 4th. And I'm just going to say right now, I know it's not everyone's fancy with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and where they live, it is a little bit gross. Like, living in the sewers, it just sounds pretty nasty. Well, I mean, if you want to go and live in, like, some place like a freaking luxurious mansion, then go right ahead. You could go and live in a mansion. But if you do so, it's going to come with a deadly catch. I'm not ready for this, guys. I'm gonna be freaking honest with you. I know that I'm trying to mentally prepare myself for this moment, but I'm just never ready for this. I mean, what can I say? Oh boy! Time to trigger once again my phobia of haunted houses and evil ghosts. We're gonna have a swell time together, aren't we? But for real though, I mean, we gotta go and do this. I mean, considering this is like a massive Disney thing that is coming up, and they tried back 20 years ago in order to bring this attraction to the big screen, and it didn't really work. Even with all of Eddie Murphy's comedy, no, that's just not enough. His star power cannot do justice to the ride in movie form. But Disney is hoping maybe this time with a lot more celebrities, that they'll be able to go and pull it off, especially with how technology has advanced now, and they'll be able to go and create some creepy stuff. So with that said, without further ado, let us go and take a look at another teaser trailer, this time in the Haunted Mansion. Yep, that was the Haunted Mansion, their second attempt to go on the big screen, to which they have a new release date now that they're shuffling around the Marvel movies, and this one shall be coming out on July 28th, so a little bit earlier than planned. And one thing I gotta say is, I don't know, honestly. I could see this go either way. Because on one hand, one thing I do want to start off, by the way, is talk about a conversation that I had with a good friend of mine. He is also like a major Disney fan. He loves, he loves Disney culture. He loves the Disney movies, and he loves the Disney parks. And of course, he is also a big fan of the Haunted Mansion. And he is just pleading that this movie turns out to be good. He wants this to actually be enjoyable, to actually be fun, to at the very least be on the levels of something like Jungle Cruise. Not a great movie, but something that he could just say it's just good. That is what he is hoping for. And one thing that he is hoping for is that they could go and focus more on the ghosts. Because when you go in the Haunted Mansion, you're not there to go and meet up with any random celebrities like Danny DeVito or Owen Wilson or Eddie Murphy or whatever. You're not there to see those guys. You want to see the spirits. You want to meet up with the hitchhikers. You want to meet up with Manable Yoda. You want to meet up with the Hatbox Ghost. You want to at least survive the bride. You want to meet up with those characters. But in this case here, I don't know, because number one, it feels like they're not learning from the mistakes that they did back in the 2003 movie. It feels like in here, there's just way too many celebrities. Like, that's one big problem, is that there's too many main characters that are featured. Because it's not just Rosario Dawson and a kid that's like the main characters here. Because like in here, we also got Danny DeVito, Owen Wilson, Lakeith Stanfield, and Tiffany Haddish, who are also the main characters as well. They are the main mortals who are trying to go around, like trying to bust ghosts and stuff like that, and trying to discover like what is the entire mystery going on here. And that is a big worry, especially when it comes to the comedy, because I'm not gonna lie, the comedy that they presented, it's pretty flat. Like, especially like some of the jokes that they got like right at the end, like this random piece over here.
Not on our watch.
Well, what are you gonna do? Seriously?
They're already dead.
You're gonna be deader.
What does that mean? Like, oh, they're gonna be deader. And like even all this, it's like, this is pretty flat. And not even that, but there's even the interaction with Owen Wilson and Lakeith Stanfield, like this, like this moment, like this thing.
Pass.
$2,000.
What's the address?
I don't know. It's just, it really feels like, I don't know. I'm not blaming the actors. I know they are very talented and they can do very well with comedy, especially with Owen Wilson, but I don't know. I feel like it's either the directing or maybe it's the writing with the dialogue. There's just something here that doesn't seem to work with the with the mortals, with the live actors, with the comedy. That aspect, I feel like it's not selling. You know, it's not selling well with this teaser trailer. Maybe there is a lot more. And I did hear apparently in the D23 presentation, it was a lot more comedic, and that is not a positive sign. If we're going to get a lot more comedy than that, honestly, things might not look well for this movie. But that's just when it comes to the people. That's just when it comes to the comedy. Because then there is the horror aspect. Because that's the thing with the Haunted Mansion. It's a combination of comedy and horror to get the to get the combining factors of like the spoopy little ghosts, you know, that you would see in cartoons that just want to scare people for fun. And then you would actually have the horror movie ghost that would say, get the hell out of here or I'm going to kill you. And in this movie, in terms of the horror, oh yeah. Yeah, they sold it. Like, you'd think that, oh, with this ragtag crew, you're going to be ready for this. It's like, oh yeah, you know, you're going to be with Tiffany Haddish. You're going to be with Rosario Dawson. You're going to be with Danny DeVito. Yeah, all right, I'm ready. Let's take on some ghosts. Let's see what we got here.
Is anybody else seeing this?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I see it.
Be careful. Death lurks around every corner.
Nope, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Nope, nope, hell no. I'm not. Nothing can prepare me for that. No. Now, so far, like, they did give you a little, at the very least, they did give you a little bit of a taste. And like the horror aspect, like the creepy factor, I think in this teaser trailer, they did manage to nail. And on top of that, the special effects, like the visual effects and how they present the ghosts actually is pretty solid. Like there's the one shot here. Yeah, like this actually does look, like you got the creepy atmosphere. Like this does look legitimately like something straight out of the mansion or something that did what, they actually did a pretty solid job. And also another one that is worth mentioning, I don't know where it is though. Oh yeah. And also one thing that is a bit of a surprise, you didn't notice Jared Leto. Well, technically here he is. Hold on a sec. Where's your head? This is apparently here he is. It's the Hatbox Ghost, but you wouldn't I wouldn't have guessed this is like Jared Leto. And like this, and again, this actually does look pretty solid. It's not bad. And not to mention, yeah, but then again, there's also not to mention Run, frickin' it's this. Like, no, yeah, she has a name, but I'm calling her Run because when you see her, frickin' run. You see, no, you're run, boy, frickin' run. Oh boy, but yeah. So overall, I feel like with seeing this, I could see it go both ways, because with the visuals that they provide and how they present the ghosts is actually really solid. I think they actually did a great job with all this. I think overall they nailed the creepy factor. They nailed the visual effects. I think the things that are directly from the ride, they're gonna capture that pretty well. But when it comes to the comedy, when it comes to trying to add into stuff from the ride, like if they're gonna go and add in like all the main the moral characters, when they're trying to add in the comedy, so far it's not convincing me that it's working out. So for me, I feel like it could go either way. This could either work great, or this could either really fall flat. So honestly, I don't know. It's like one way or the other, something is bound to happen. But hey, worst case scenario, you got the ride. And judging by what Disney has done with the Jungle Cruise, I don't think they're really going to go and make some like major changes based on this movie in particular. They're going to keep the ride as the ride. No one's going to be recasted so that they would fit more in their roles. Like, you're not going to suddenly see a bunch of like Danny DeVito or Owen Wilson animatronics here. No, you're not going to see that. Like, the ride is just going to be the ride itself, and it's going to be its own separate entity. But yeah, honestly, I can imagine this could cause a lot of mixed reactions. And if you are curious to know when this movie is coming out, then keep in mind it will be released on July 28th. So we'll just see how it goes. We'll just wait and see. So with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, how do you all feel about this teaser trailer of The Mansion? Are you more excited for it? Are you more doubtful? Let me know which side you're on here. Let's see. I'm honestly very mixed about this trailer. On one hand, the visuals are amazing and capture the haunting feeling of the ride, but on the other hand, the human characters might not be that interesting. So this could either be great or this could be a disaster, just like the 2003 movie. So overall, we'll wait and see what happens. Although I have one question, although I do have one request, the less we get of Jared Leto Hatbox Ghost, the better. Well, I mean, be careful what you wish for, because even though this entire movie is based on the ride, it feels like they're going to be focusing a lot more on the human characters, and the rest of the spirits, well, they're more or less just going to be cameos. And also, one thing that I gotta say is honestly unexpectedly weird. Here, let me just go and here, let's speed that up. Yeah, check this out. Do you know, like, hold on, where are you? Yeah, do you know who this is? Believe it or not, this is Jamie Lee Curtis playing as Madame Leota. Now, maybe this is like a flashback scene. It could totally be that. But honestly, seeing her like this, seeing this in which they're telling me this is Madame Leota, I was like, what? Because I remember I saw it was Jamie Lee Curtis who actually shared this on her social media post saying that this is her. I was like, I thought you were supposed to be the head in the crystal ball. I did not expect this. Huh. Kind of unusual, but then again, I'm not going to judge immediately. I'm sure you probably have an explanation for it, so I guess we'll see. All right, anyways, I could see this movie going either way. On one hand, it could end up being something that builds on the ride while being barrels of fun, like the first Pirates of the Caribbean, or it could end up being a generic adventure like Jungle Cruise. But will probably be saved by the cast since they are pretty epic, like Owen Wilson, Danny DeVito, and oh crap, never mind. I might see it if I have nothing else to watch. But one question is, where's the talking prawn and the blue thing? Yeah, and that's the funny thing. And I actually told my friend as a reassurance, like, hey, if nothing works out, then at least you got the Muppets Mansion. You got the Muppets Haunted Mansion, in which at least they provide a decent adaptation. And yeah, maybe it's not as spooky. It's not as like horrific as what they're showing in this teaser trailer. At least it looks, at least like they do capture the spirit of the ride, no pun intended. At least like you can have fun with it. And at least like we got the focus of the ghosts, even though a lot of them are literally freaking Muppets. So hey, at the very least, you got the Muppets having your back. If you lost your if you lost your appetite with this, you could go back to the Muppets. They'll get you, they'll get you with that. Let's see what we have here. I don't know about you, but I love this trailer. Seeing how much Disney actually crank out so many remakes and reboots that look bland and lifeless, I gotta say, Five Nights at the Mansion reboot is the first time since The Jungle Book where I could see the director ties to put in life in this, and it actually looks good. You can actually feel creepy with the mansion and being accurate to the Disneyland version. Some of the deadpan humor is actually funny, and having Danny DeVito and Owen Wilson in this, and suddenly the comments stopped. Okay, so hey, at least it works for you, so that's a good thing. Let's see now. From the looks of the trailer, I'm not looking forward, especially that this is coming out on my birthday weekend. The actor's performance, plot, and comedy look weak so far, but the horror aspect, including the painting close-up scene, look decent though. I could see it either being mediocre or bad, but rather stick to mediocre if you ask me. But let's agree that the Muppets Mansion looks better than this. Yeah, honestly, I don't think this is going to be like the worst thing that is going to come out of Disney. I don't think this is going to be like amongst the worst movies of the year. But honestly, I think like at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised where the worst case scenario is that it's going to come out mediocre. It's just going to be released. People are just going to go meh with it, and they're just going to move on, and they'll just love the ride as is. You know, that could be a possible scenario. But again, I'm opening up to the possible idea that it could either work or it might not. Let's see, what other comments do we have? Let's see. If anything else, I'm sure this will be better than the Eddie Murphy version. They nailed the look and feel of the mansion. Like, if you ask me what a mansion movie would look like, this is what I could come up with. I love the cast. Phil Lightning, Heimdall, Tess Coleman, and the sound someone makes when they explode from the waist up in the same movie. All it needs is Kermit, Ray, and Homer, and you have all my favorite Disney characters in the same movie. Ah, well, oh, what do you know? I mean, who knows? Maybe on Disney Plus they'll do that. Let's see. Never went to the original attraction and never saw the 2003 Eddie Murphy movie. A few things though, before the movie is released, it would be grand if you could do a quick history of the attraction itself and its origins. Also, imagine the trailer with the creepy Resident Evil 8 doll and the 1999 Mummy. Creep factor multiplied by 9,000. You'll probably see other people doing that kind of video. I'm gonna pass on that. I'm okay. I'm fine. What scene from Everything Everywhere all at once is this again? Oh my god, yeah. Oh boy, I don't know about you, but like I would need a lot more googly eyes just to go and like get away from that, or like I don't know, like I have yet to see Everything Everywhere, but like how the fridge do you activate the next dimension to pass this one? All right, I think I'm gonna read one more until we jump into the next trailer. Let's see now. Yes. I used to be terrified of the mansion when I was a kid. The only thing I was terrified of the mansion was the thunder and the hanging body, but I got over my fear of the mansion so I could go on the ride however I want. However, after seeing this trailer, I guess there's too many casting and the comedy is flat. But there's the horror aspect, and I gotta see them nail it. I gotta see they nailed it. And I gotta say they nailed it, sorry. And I am curious to how Jamie Lee Curtis is gonna go as Madame Leota. I mean, again, this is just a teaser trailer, and so far, it looks like it has been gathering some mixed reactions. Some people seem to be very excited about it, others are pretty doubtful. And for me, I see it that it could go either way. But with all that said, if you are interested in checking out the mansion, then keep in mind that the movie shall be released on July 28th. And when it comes to our next story, I think we've seen a little too many dead people, but we do have one more dead person that we are going to look at. Well, technically, he's only dead in real life, but we're going to go into an alternate dimension about what if this dead person is not only alive, but he's actually a secret agent. And we are back. And I know that I cannot cap this entire episode off with the Mansion teaser trailer, because if I did so, then I would run the risk of having those spirits be my sleep paralysis demons for the night. Or maybe even for the week. Excuse me, by the way. But in order to try to go and fix that, I am going to go and watch a couple of more trailers in order to wash that off. And with this one in particular, well, we've already talked about it before with its teaser trailer that was released not too long ago. But considering that we are getting very close to its actual release date, we might as well have an encore and watch a lot more of what this series will have in store. So with that said, let us go ahead and watch our next trailer as we check out Netflix and Sony Animation's Agent Elvis.
Elvis.
Well, not after that explosion there, isn't it?
And that is Agent Elvis, in which it will be coming soon next week on March 17th on Netflix. Now, the last time I talked about it, it was with the teaser trailer. And my reaction to it, well, let's just say it was a tiny bit similar to what I just talked about with The Mansion, where on one hand, I saw a lot of potential with that one. Like the casting was pretty solid, and the action was absolutely epic, and the animation is really, really good. But then again, one thing that I was wondering is, all right, well, what else can you offer me more than just the Elvis theme? Because everything else that they presented before, it just felt like your typical adult animation action-packed series similar to the Venture Brothers and Archer. So I had a bit of my doubts, admittedly. But now with this trailer, I will admit, you know, they did show a bit more. And really, this one feels like it really did emphasize on the action, and it also emphasized on the comedy. Now, the comedy, I'm going to say right now, I'd say it's just okay. There were some that I did find were pretty funny, like in the last bit where they exploded that biker gang. Like that I did find to be funny, or even like a bit of the like with Elvis's interaction with the chimpanzee. Hold on, like where is that moment? Yeah, like at this point.
Which means not buying coked up hookers, he said really clearly this time.
Like that one, I will admit that the joke was actually pretty cute. Like, I'm not gonna say all the jokes land, I'm just gonna say that they are decent. Like, one thing that I can guarantee is that I find the jokes work way better here than they did in the Haunted Mansion teaser. So at least they got that going for them. Other than that, though, one thing I almost forgot to go and mention is actually in regards to the cast, because previously they did confirm that there is Malcolm McDowell who is a part of it, but they've also confirmed everyone else who will be in there, which it does have a pretty star-studded cast, in which it also includes Caitlin Olsen, Johnny Knoxville, Niecy Nash, Tom Kenny, who's going to be the chimpanzee, Don Cheadle, as well as a bunch of special guests, including Ed Helms, Jason Mantzoukas, Christina Hendricks, Kieran Culkin, Chris Elliott, Asif Ali, Fred Armisen, Ego Maduman, Simon Pegg, Craig Robinson, Gary Cole, George Clinton, Tara Strong, and Tony Cavallero, as well as one of the creators of Agent Elvis, Priscilla Presley, who actually was Elvis's former wife. She's actually going to be in the show where she's going to play herself. In fact, we actually did get a little bit of a taste of her playing as, we did get a taste of Priscilla in the show here. Hold on. It's right over here.
It's groovy, don't you think?
So yeah, like we did get a bit of a taste of Priscilla herself. So not only is she going to be a show creator, but she is also going to be appearing in this as Elvis's wife. I did get a little bit of sidetracked there. So yeah, like the comedy is decent, but especially the action, I find that they actually nailed it in here. The action, I think it convinced me so much more than they did previously in the teaser trailer. That's where it really did work out, where they provided a lot of unique action. Like we see a lot of the crazy scenarios that's going to be going on. That, I think, more than anything, really did convince me, especially showing off like the capabilities of the art style that they are going with, in which they're going like somewhere in like that retro 1960s style, like going with a bit of that kind of aesthetic that normally that you would see in advertisements and stuff like that. I think they really did nail that down. And so far, it looks very solid. Once again, I think this is one of Sony Animation's better projects, at least in terms of the visuals. Like, I think the animators really did a very solid job here. And also, one thing that I do want to comment is actually in regards to another person and their thoughts on this. And this is specifically in regards to Devin. You probably do remember Devin, who did appear a few times here on AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, and she actually did help me out on one of my latest videos, which was the Pinocchio incident. She actually did assist me in some of the research, especially in regards to the treatment of little people back in the 1930s and 1940s and stuff like that. Not necessarily a fun story to really get down into, but yeah, no, she definitely was a big help on that video. And originally, I wanted her to come in here as a guest to go and talk about all these trailers, but unfortunately, she couldn't come because she had an appointment at 4, so sadly, she wasn't available today. But I will promise that pretty soon she will come as a guest, like just as a little way to say thank you for her contribution on the Pinocchio incident. But anyways, I asked her about her thoughts on this, considering that she is a massive Elvis fan. Like like Elvis is a huge part of her life as much as Disney is. And what she told me was that she really liked it because other than the violence, everything that they've shown here is pretty much true to the spirit of Elvis. Like the art style and the animation actually is reminiscent to something that does stay true to Elvis, especially with the era of his prime, and also the not to mention like like all the decorations, the glamour, that it feels like retro Las Vegas. So the animation feels like Elvis. The action also feels like Elvis, considering that with his movie career, he always wanted to be a bit more of like that, to be more of an action star. And even in here, like it does feel like a bit of a throwback to those 1970s action-packed adventures. So like it does feel like the kind of feature that Elvis would find himself in, or would want to find himself in. And even like with the portrayal of Elvis himself, actually does work out, it actually does stay true to who Elvis is. So, like according to Devin, who is the biggest Elvis fan that I know, apparently with this one, this stays true to the spirit of Elvis, and everything radiates the legacy of Elvis. So in terms of that, apparently it gave her a pass. So I guess you could say that it really was a big help that they did manage to get Priscilla Presley to go and create this entire series to make sure that everything is correct to the tone of what her former husband would have wanted. So yeah, honestly, overall, I feel like with this trailer, it actually does a better job than the teaser trailer, or at least the trailer that we had before. The action is pretty intense. They got a very solid fast pace. They got a whole bunch of voices that are very promising. The humor, I would say, is actually pretty good, and I can see this as something that could legitimately be a good time. I can actually see this really working out for Netflix, and it could be their next big show. Who knows? But then again, I mean, the success of an animated series on Netflix can always be a mystery. Like, something can actually work out very, very well, and then suddenly, whoop, it got canceled after season 1. I mean, look what happened to Inside Job. But yeah, overall, though, I could see great potential in Agent Elvis, and I can probably see this working out. So if you are interested in checking out Agent Elvis, then keep in mind that it actually is going to be coming very soon next week on March 17th for its release. So mark your calendars if you are interested on that. All right, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you, how do you all feel of Agent Elvis? Are you guys excited for the series? Does this really get you hyped up? Are you a little bit more iffy? Let me know what you think on all this. All right, let's see what we got now. From the second trailer of Agent Elvis, looks like it's going to be good thanks to the animation, the action, and some comedy here and there too. I was surprised by the cast that Sony Animation and Netflix got, including Tom Kenny playing another monkey character, this time as a messed up but ruthless chimpanzee. But hey, as long as you get Tom Kenny in there, then I would definitely be on board. Hope the series is good when it comes out, and better than Baz Luhrmann's take on Elvis. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I mean, like, if you could get people like Matthew McConaughey and Don Cheadle and the beautiful Christina Hendricks, I will admit I do have a bit of a crush on her, but if you could get all those people, then why can't you get Tom Hanks back? Why don't you get that pirate manager to come back here, you know? Like, see, it's like, who's the agent that's stopping us? I don't know, sir, it's a white guy. He's white? He's white. That scene is like always, you know, that scene always cracks me up. But anyways, what else do we got here? As a major Elvis fan, thanks to Lilo and Stitch, I am both genuinely excited and worried about this. On one hand, it looks really nice and it looks really nice to look at, and it's very action packed. But on the other hand, it's also giving me a bit of America the Motion Picture vibes. We all know your thoughts on that, Matt, but we need to see it first. One gigantic surprise to me was the fact that they managed to get Priscilla Presley to be involved. If only their daughter could see this. Well, I mean, like, yeah, they did get Priscilla involved with this. She is one of the creators of the show. This is technically her idea, or at least this is one of the people who did thought up of the show. So, I mean, again, if she's going to be a show creator, why not also be in the voice cast? Like, if you're also going to get Priscilla in the show, well, then, I mean, you got Priscilla there making the show, so might as well get her in front of the mic. Let's see now. Let's see. I just can't help falling in love with this trailer. Yeah, I really had to do an Elvis Presley joke. This honestly feels like they embrace the coolness and silliness of the whole spy action genre, and the animation style really helps out a lot with that feeling. Exactly. I mean, that's why before I did mention that it does feel a lot like something in the veins of the Venture Brothers or Archer. But honestly, it looks, you know, after this trailer, I feel convinced that maybe there is a strong chance that it could legitimately stand on its own. It could actually go and actually be a prominent series where it's not just going to be like an Archer clone. It's going to be its own thing. So honestly, like, good on this trailer to help like change my mind to be a bit more positive on this. Let's see, what other comments do we have? This looks very funny and very accurate to the graphic novel that it is based on. I do hope that it is not just inappropriate like Aqua Team, Hunger Force for the sake of being inappropriate, but more like South Park or Simpsons, where everything has a purpose and a reason to why they're going to do what they're doing. But other than that, this looks very good. It's cool they got the character design from Archer to actually do the character designs for this. Oh, there you go then. I mean, like, that's like, at the very least, like, one thing that you got to give credit to this is the animation. I mean, there's a reason why they advertised that this, like, they actually stated, like, specifically, where was it? Yeah, like, they had to say, from Sony Pictures Animation, the studio behind Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That, I gotta admit, this is, like, pretty funny. You know, like, honestly, it's funny, but a little bit sad, because in a way, you can't just say, oh, this is from Sony Pictures Animation, because there's a chance that a lot of people are just gonna say, who? They did Spider-Verse. Okay. Just thought it was something worth mentioning there. All right, I think I'll read one more comment before we go and go into our final trailer. Let's see what we have here. I gotta say, this trailer actually looks pretty good, and this could be a fun series. The animation is very well done, the action is great, and the humor is solid. So overall, I think I might give this a watch. And again, no Agent Elvis didn't get Inside Job canceled. Anyone who says that is an idiot. Well, there you go. All right, so we now have one more story that we are about to get into. One more trailer, actually. And this time around, well, normally I would call this the grand finale, but, well, should we call this trailer grand? I don't know. You'll be the judge when we will check out our final trailer. And now, this is it. The time that we will cap this entire trailer palooza with the grand finale. And with this grand finale, after the entire batch of trailers that we have received from the Mutant Madness, oh, thank you, King Cerulean, for the little subscription there. Yes, from the sewers of New York City to the realms of the Haunted Mansion to Las Vegas and the crazy global adventures with Elvis, we are going to cap this off on, honestly, a pretty depressing note. Well, not depressing, but a disappointing note. I'm sorry that I have to do this for you, but we might as well go and cap this off with a little bit of an interesting discussion, because what we have here is yet another Disney live action remake. And not just any live action remake, a Disney live action remake that is going to premiere exclusively on Disney Plus. And we all remember how well that went last time with Pinocchio, but might as well go and have a discussion about it. Maybe things can actually look up. I mean, Pinocchio set a very low standard, so you can only go up from there. And with this one, they are going up, way, way up to Neverland. So without further ado, let's go and look into the final trailer of this episode by talking about Peter Pan and, oh, excuse me, Peter Pan and Wendy. And that was Peter Pan and Wendy, to which it will be released on Disney Plus on April 28th. And I'm not gonna lie, I will say this though. I will say this. So far, this isn't cringe. I'm not gonna say that, God, this thing is terrible. This is gonna be the worst Disney live action remake yet. So far, it does actually feel like a bit of a step up compared to Disney's Pinocchio. But man, ask me if there's anything memorable in this, and yeah. The one thing I gotta say is that I feel like this thing is dull, and it doesn't really feel that much enjoyable. Oh, actually, there's something I need to show you, because so far, I guess we could go and safely say that Velma is having a sigh of relief right now. I think finally, Velma is gonna finally have a break, because the internet has found a brand new toy to hate. Look at the likes and the dislike ratio. Sweet, merciful Neptune. Yeah, like, as I am recording this, you got 40,000 likes and almost 350,000 dislikes. Like, damn, people came in to hate watch this. And I will state, by the way, I have noticed that people are becoming a lot more cynical when it comes to these trailers. Like right now, nowadays, it's not just Disney, by the way, but I've noticed that like more and more people are just handing over dislikes to whatever trailer that would be released. Like a good example, like you got Mutant Mayhem, which so far has over 41,000 likes and 13,000 dislikes. You got The Mansion, which has struggled the same kind of problem. Like you got almost 30,000 likes and you got 12,000 dislikes. And even Agent Elvis, like so far it has the best positive response, where it's got almost 5,000 likes, but still 600 dislikes. So we're starting to notice a bit more of a trend where people are just becoming more cynical, and it's either their standards are becoming way too high or they just want to fill the internet with hate. But yeah, you notice that there is a lot more cynicism that people are delivering with whatever trailer would be released. But Peter Pan and Wendy, though, sweet merciful Neptune. This one got so much hate. And the thing is, I gotta say, and someone actually did bring it up perfectly, is that there is a lack of color. And I just feel like, not just a lack of color, but I would even go further and just feel like, I just feel like I want to say that everything feels flat. It's just throughout this entire thing, it looks dull and it feels dull as well. And it's kind of weird that a Peter Pan movie is lacking color. Like it just like so much of it just feels lifeless. Like when you just look at the random images, like, yeah, it's like there's nothing about it that feels like, oh, there's just so much color, there's so much life. Like, yeah, here's Neverland, this floating, which is nothing but a freaking floating rock. Here are the pirates, by the way. Like, again, the colors are just so godforsaken muted. And like even when there are scenes where it feels like, oh, here's the color, but like, yeah, it's just like pretty simple, and it's just, you know, it's not really all that interesting. But it's just weird how like, and here's it, yeah, like here's more, like here's shots of Neverland, like just a random forest, and then like here's the Lost Boys hangout, just like completely it's just an abandoned place. Here are the natives, by the way, which I'm just gonna say right now, if there's one thing that so far it feels like the movie is doing better than the animated film, at least the natives, they're not freaking offensive as F. They're not freaking stereotypes going, what makes the red man red? Indians always yell like that when they mad. They ain't doing that freaking garbage whatsoever. Like, so far, they're doing something a lot better. And by the way, I just want to immediately go and apologize if anybody did get offended over that little bit that I did there. I mean, you guys understand the point that I did so, but I just want to go in and quickly apologize. Like, you understand what I mean, but I do apologize just for doing that alone. But yeah, like so far, at least the natives look fine. Like, okay, you actually got native people playing as the native people, and Tiger Lily, I mean, she sounds wise. She sounds, she sounds like she's got more to say compared to like other adaptations where she didn't say anything. Or like, hey, this one is much better than another Tiger Lily who ends up being shipped with freaking Captain Hook and is apparently turned into a white girl also. Oh my god. Oh, Pan, what a movie. That 2015 Pan movie. God, I love it's still amongst my favorite bad movie out there. Such a beautiful disaster. Oh boy. But yeah, okay, they did that correct, but yeah, like you see all around, like, and even when you see like freaking Captain Hook at the end, like when you got like that big reveal, like even that feels like colorless as well. Like, oh, this is the big scary villain, but it's like, eh. And even like right at the end when you got this big moment with Peter Pan like taking down the ship, even that feels lifeless and colorless. And also I want to add, even the acting, like, okay, I'm not going to go and immediately judge the actors right now, but I feel like the acting that is presented in this teaser trailer, it's just flat. Everything about it just feels completely flat. Like everybody just feels bored. Everybody feels unenthusiastic. Maybe there's like a lot of other scenes where they actually do feel better, maybe like they do provide better dialogue. But honestly, like you hear a lot of the dialogue, it's just, it feels flat. Like Tiger Lily for itself, Tiger Lily, for example, she sounds bored. Like, listen.
Hold the past in your heart, but where you go from here, it's up to you.
Like, I don't know, like maybe she sounds concerned, but I don't know if I could detect much emotion. Or another example, Jude Law playing as Captain Hook. That's also another example of like just sounding bored.
Angela, darling, where is Peter Pan?
Not to mention, he looks like he's reading off of a freaking cue card. And it's like, where? All right, next thing is Peter Pan. Like, that's another one. Or even with the darlings and with Pete himself, like when he first abducts them from their home, like over here.
Me, Peter Pan?
Were you expecting someone else?
Hey guys, you expecting someone else? Yeah, it's me, Peter Pan. Come on. Gonna sparkle you with some pixie dust and we're gonna go to Neverland. By the way, I do apologize if I turn Peter Pan into Patrick Warburton, although that would make an interesting adaptation. Just recreate Peter Pan, except just make Patrick Warburton as Peter Pan himself and make everybody buy the fact that he's just a little boy. Welcome, passengers. I am Peter Pan, and I'll show you a good time down in Neverland. And I gotta say, just a side note, if there is one thing that I actually did enjoy coming from this trailer, I haven't seen people really talk about it that much, but I love the way that in Peter Pan and Wendy, when they're going off to Neverland, they freaking destroyed the Elizabeth Tower. Like, check this.
Looks very far away.
It's closer than you think.
Look at this. It's just like shattered into pieces. It's like, you know, and I'll give it credit. Like, so far, it's just the children that are doing that so far seem like they have more emotion in their acting, like Michael or even some of the Lost Boys as well. But then you got Pete that's just casually there like, yeah, it's closer than you think. And then they fly off and then suddenly the pieces of the Elizabeth Tower just shattered as they're off to Neverland. I was like, all right, everybody, here we go. Whoosh, off to Neverland. And as the pieces fall down in London, and Big Ben is just exposed going in like, yo, what just happened? That I will admit, that is pretty funny. That's the only thing that really did amuse me in this. But honestly, just looking at just overall, I just feel like it doesn't really offer much. Like, yeah, like really at the most that it seems like it really is offering is just that it has a diverse cast, that they're really emphasizing more people of color that are a part of this movie. Like, not just having actual natives playing the natives in this, but even amongst the Lost Boys, there's also like girls that are involved in there, or you would have a Peter Pan or even a Tinkerbell of color. And in that regard, like, if they want to do that, more power to them. Go for it. And I'm sure that you can actually make things work, especially with the different races that are just mingling together in Neverland. Or even if you want to make a Lost Boys where not everyone are boys in there, like, you could go and do that too. That's perfectly fine. And I can imagine, like, with the right writing, like, you could really go and make that work. But my biggest problem in here is that I don't feel like there's anything memorable. Like, there's nothing here that feels like I'm going to remember this adaptation of Peter Pan and Wendy. And I don't mean that either in a good way or even in a bad way. The problem with this is that it just looks so forgettable. The colors are so muted. So far, the acting feels pretty, you know, the acting feels pretty dull. And so much of what they are presenting, I mean, like, a lot of the other Peter Pan adaptations, they've already done so. And like, yeah, maybe some people could argue and say like, oh, but this is meant to be like this big budgeted Hollywood version of Peter Pan. But we've already gotten plenty of those as well. I mean, like, if I really want to have like a big budgeted Hollywood style live action version of Peter Pan, then I'm just going to go and stick with the 2003 version. Why would I go and need this? Like, there's just so much of this that I just feel like it's not going to be memorable. This really feels like the kind of movie that it's just going to be forgettably bad. It's not going to be like cringe bad in the levels of like the Maleficent movies, Dumbo, or Pinocchio. It feels like the kind of thing I'm just going to watch it and like a few hours after I've seen the credits, I'll just completely forget about it. So honestly, that's my biggest problem with it. Like, yeah, I could see a few things, like maybe the visuals are nice. The casting does look pretty solid so far. And I'm not going to judge on the acting just yet, because again, this is just a teaser trailer. But overall though, I'm just not excited for it because I feel like it's not offering me anything in regards to an adaptation of Peter Pan and Wendy. Like, I don't know what this is going to offer me that I cannot have in any other of the Peter Pan adaptations, whether it be the good ones like the original Disney animated film or the 2003 movie, or even compared to like the bad ones, like the 2013 Pan, or that live television special with Christopher Walken as Captain Hook. So far, there's really not like, so far, I just feel like there's nothing in here that truly is offering to me. So honestly, it's just really, it's just so far, I think like out of the entire batch, this one has to be the weakest. Like even with the mansion, like that one I could see some potential. This one though, I just don't really see any potential of being memorable whatsoever, whether it be good or bad. So with that said though, that is my piece on Peter Pan and Wendy, and I would like to go into the chat wall, and it's time that I ask you, how do you feel about this trailer of Peter Pan and Wendy? Did it convince you to go and watch it? Are you more doubtful about it? Let me know what you think. Or if there are some things that I haven't pointed out that you have noticed, then please let me know. Let's see what we got. This trailer is the ultimate definition of On one hand, I'm looking forward to seeing Jude Law and Jim Gaffigan as Hook and Mr. Smee, and I have some trust in the director considering the filmography, but a lot of this isn't doing anything for me. For me, though, the biggest issue with this trailer is how dark it is. It's the same issue with the Little Mermaid remake. Compared to how colorful the animated films are, these remakes are just lacking in any kind of color, and the lighting is way too dark. Yeah, and again, that's a problem in terms of color. Like, yeah, there are some things that I do see, but at the same time, there are things that, like, honestly, I just don't really see a whole lot because the colors kind of mesh together because it's either too dark or the colors are way too muted. So, and honestly, with the director, I'm sure he is well accomplished, but I don't know. I think, like, this guy, like, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe the director is it David Lowery, I believe? Yeah, it is David Lowery. And I mean, the dude's a great director. And I mean, The Green Knight, freaking awesome. But he also directed one of the safest movies imaginable, which is the 2016 remake of Pete's Dragon. And honestly, I could debatably say it is one of the most forgettable forgettable Disney live action remakes out there. And I feel like this is more in line of that, where this is just going to be another adaptation where Lowery is just going to play it way too safe because of studio demands. Let's see now. Yeah, I think I could agree with most of your points with this trailer. It gave me very mixed feelings. I also think it's weird that they don't cast Jude Law as Captain Hook and Mr. Darling as usual. They got Alan Tudyk to play the latter. I feel like people are being more cynical about Disney live action reboots nowadays, especially after last year with Zemeckis' Pinocchio. Yeah, I think let's be honest here. I think when it comes to like the likes and dislikes, this really is just people jumping into the bandwagon. Like, this isn't from people who genuinely think that this trailer is bad or anything. Like, this is just people who just want to go and jump in on the hatred against Disney live action remakes, or especially coming from the violent anti-woke people who just hate it due to their racism, and they see that, oh, Peter Pan and Tinkerbell are not white, so that gives them an excuse to go and hate it and stuff like that. So really, again, I feel like this is a case where it's similar to Velma, where it doesn't look, so far it's not looking good, but the hate is already going a little too extreme, and people, it really is just people jumping on the bandwagon because they just desperately want to go and hate something and just unleash their anger and whatever like hatred that they have in their heads and just throw it onto some worthless, well, not worthless, but like just throw it on some random piece of media like Peter Pan and Wendy. Let's see what else we got. We finally reached the point where most of the internet straight up says no to a live action remake, and with this, it's easy to see why. It's not just the acting and visuals that are dull, but the colors are practically lifeless, which isn't helped by the terrible blooming. It's really that hard to use some color grading. The only good thing in this trailer for me is Hook's looks and the fact that the Native Americans are treated well for once, but that's barely enough to save this movie. Exactly. And the big question remains, what is this remake going to do that we haven't seen in any other adaptation of Peter Pan? Right. Let's see what else we have here. Not gonna lie, the trailer looks very dull and boring. The colors are muted and colorless, the actors didn't really care about the characters they're playing, and overall, from what I see, it's not really memorable. This could be a meh movie, but I'm just gonna stick with the original and Hook. And seriously, please stop making a fuss over a character with a different race. That version of Tinkerbell looks nice, not gonna lie. I'm just sick and tired of people making racist comments over a change. Have we not learned? No, racist people do not learn. They need to be criminalized. Whatever values and beliefs that they have, they need to have some regulations so that their hatred do not spread. But yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. This Tinkerbell here, like, I don't mind if she is a different race, because I do find that she is cute, though. I mean, like, do we have like a good idea of where would a good shot of Tinkerbell could be? Like, I know like they had a bit like in the beginning or something. I don't know, like where would they? This is gonna be like, I know Tinkerbell is small, but hold on. Oh yeah, there she is. Yeah, and I mean, like, she ain't bad. She does look, you know, she does look cute. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like Tinkerbell in the original animated film, like, yeah, she is undeniably hot. And I mean, like, in terms of the looks, I think they nailed it. I think they nailed her. I think like she did a good job of capturing the look of the original Tinkerbell. So I think like at the very least that she is definitely one of the better aspects. I mean, like, and even with her emotions and stuff like that, she is showing a lot more acting range than a lot of the other actors in this trailer. Again, not the actor's fault, but it's just the trailer not giving them a good look. Let's see what else we got here. Well, I can make a statement. I feel pretty mixed. Like, on one hand, it doesn't look that terrible, and I did enjoy some aspects, like the placement to be more of a blockbuster. On the other hand, I'm with you to say bland is the right word. Overall, I feel like it'll be one of those movies I might stumble upon, and it might depend on my taste of the final product. To be honest, I kind of like this version of Tinkerbell. She is kind of cute, but I think the way you didn't say much of her. Oh, by the way, you didn't say much of her. What did you think? Well, I mean, I guess it's too late. I already did say my piece. I mean, like, there's not a whole lot to say about Tinkerbell because she is technically a mute role. So honestly, I have confidence in the actress that she will be one of the better parts of this movie. Let's see. Any other comments to go and read? I think I'll go one more and then we'll go and cap this off over here. I might as well go and okay, a word from Disney. No more Disney live action reboots. Seriously, why are they doing this? Oh, I know, cha-cha-ching. Or hold on. Wait. Oh, I know the reason why. There we go. That's why. The trailer in this looks pretty dull. There's no color in this except for the flashback scene. Jude Law looks kind of like Christopher Walken, Captain Hook, and it's just plain flat. I'm not sure if I'm hyped to see this movie, but maybe I might watch it just for the just for the judge of it. And what does everyone think about Tinkerbell's new look? I think we can all agree that everything so far is dull, but Tinkerbell in this is pretty cute. And with that said and done, that should do it for this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And man, what an awesome episode we went through, and I'm glad that we went through it all. And I gotta say, admittedly, this is probably one of the better episodes that we've had in a long time. Like, it's been a while that, like, we've capped this off, and I still feel that great energy. And by the way, tune in next week, for we are going to have a very special episode all dedicated to the Oscars, in which we are going to talk about the winners. We are going to specifically look into the animated winners, like for Best Animated Short and for Best Animated Feature. And we are going to go and talk about everything that has happened in the show. And I'm sure this is going to be one that you will not miss. If it's going to be anything like last year, in which we're going to get another slap incident, oh boy, are we going to have fun with that one. But with all that said and done, I would like to go and say, before you go, just want to remind you all, don't forget to go and subscribe to my Twitch channel and to the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel so that you don't miss a single episode of the podcast. And as well, don't forget to go and follow me in whatever podcast service that you are following me on, whether it be on Spotify, Amazon, Google, iTunes, or whatever. So with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see ya later, dudes.